This is my guest, Ghandi.
I won't go that far.
No, but
I'll take it.
It's time for the Garage Boozing Podcast.
What's up, nerds, and welcome back to another episode of the Garage Boozing Podcast. I'm your host, the man with absolutely no plan, Chase with the face for radio, Chase Shurga. And today I have an incredible episode for you. I am joined by one very special guest, a very good friend of mine, Brandon Eastman. We went to school together, we had a job together, and now he's actually a motivational speaker. He's doing very well, has a book out. We're going to talk all about it all in this episode, but yeah, I think you guys are really going to like this episode. Brandon is an awesome guy. He's very smart, and he definitely knows how to help motivate you. So you definitely got to listen to what he has to say. This episode's an awesome one. And yeah, you know what time it is. It's time to sit back, relax, kick your feet up, crack open a cold one, and if you're really feeling fruity, take a shot. Why not? Because this week's episode of the Garage Boozing Podcast starts now. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Garage Boozing Podcast. Today I am joined by one very special guest. To my right, your left if you're watching on YouTube, Brandon Eastman. Welcome to the show.
It's a pleasure to be here, Chase.
Oh, see, I love your voice sounds so good in here.
Oh, I appreciate that, man.
But
you got a great voice too.
Thank you. I got a face for radio, you know. But so Brandon is one of my best friends. And it's actually funny how this happened. Just to give you guys a little backstory here. So me and Brandon graduated high school together. Me and Brandon didn't meet till probably sometime in middle school. We're never good friends. I'm not even gonna say good friends because we were never really not friends. Like we didn't really communicate much, nothing like that. I was that annoying little asshole in high school, and Brandon was off playing RuneScape.
Yeah.
But a couple years later, I had a job at a grocery store, putting apples on a shelf. A grocery store called Hannaford, for those of you that are in the Northeast. And I remember I was walking through the mall, and I saw Brandon working in one of the Verizon stores. He's wearing a suit, stuff like that. I'm like, wow, that's really cool. He's wearing a suit. He must be making bank. So I remember I sent him a message. I'm like, hey, are you guys hiring? Long story short, he messaged me back. He's like, dude, yeah, blah, blah, you'd be great at this. Like, come on in. I'll show you how much we're making, all this stuff. And like going from making $8 an hour to what we were making at Verizon, nuts. So I go in one day, he's showing me all this stuff. Super cool. Got the job. The rest is history almost, I guess, because we clicked instantly. Yep. Became one of my best friends at work. We both like to stir the pot a little bit, but that's another story for another day, I guess, or maybe later in the podcast. But then I ended up going to his wedding in Mexico. I was in the wedding.
Yeah.
Great time.
Yeah,
and,
groomsman.
Yeah, I was a groomsman. Yeah, I still have my flask.
Yeah.
I love that flask, by the way. But yeah, that wedding in Mexico was sick.
Yeah, man. It's funny how we went from not really ever even talking to each other to becoming close friends.
And I think the reason the reason behind that is people change, you know, like people change growing up. I definitely got more mature after high school. Like I was Mr. Talk shit to my teacher and didn't care about my grades, and then like went to a point where I wanted to start making money. And I'm very thankful for you for getting me that job, because that was my start in sales, stuff like that. Like I'm doing sales now, and it's thank you.
Yeah, it was great working with you, man.
It was
a lot of fun.
It was. I miss those days. I do.
I think the thing about you is you have a very unique ability for entertaining. Like you are just a natural entertainer. Like you could be an actor, you could be a voice impersonator. Like you're amazing with impressions.
My impressions. I was just gonna say. Yeah. I tell people all the time at work and stuff when I like make impressions of other people. Always tell me my impressions are so good. I'm like, I used to hear that all the time.
Yeah, they're spot on.
Like I mannerisms. I'm really good at like picking up on mannerisms and how people talk and move. And that's one thing I just like. Yeah, observe.
That's your natural ability.
Yeah, and you know what? I always wanted to be an actor, so who knows? And life's short, and I'm only 27, so who knows? Maybe I'll be in Hollywood one day. I don't know. That'd be sick.
I'd watch that movie.
I'd watch that movie. What if it was a porno?
I'd still watch it. Yeah, man.
Nice. But so Brandon has not always been the person that Brandon is now. Now, would you consider yourself like a motivational speaker? Is that what the term you like to go with, or what do you like? What would you like consider your brand?
You could say that. You could say motivational speaker. You know, when I think of motivational speaker, I think of a guy just on a stage, just spewing words at somebody, right?
Sure.
And I like to think of myself more so not as the guy who spews words at somebody, but the guy who actually gives practical advice to somebody that they can actually take and use to make a difference for themselves.
So what would you say got you to that point? Because when I first started at Verizon, we were working together. That was not you. You know, it was like maybe it was like just beginning.
Yep.
But like I almost feel like a switch turned, and
Yeah.
here you are, Mr. Motivation, which that's not a dig at all. Like, I love what you're doing. You have a book out now too, by the way, which is right in front of me right here.
Right in front. Yeah. Well, when you met me, re-met me after
yeah,
all
right,
those years,
absolutely, sure.
you went into a store.
I feel like that's when I truly met you, though, because I didn't really know you before. I just knew like about you, but I didn't know anything about you.
Yeah.
So then once I re-met you,
Totally, I agree with that. You met the guy who was making great money. You met the guy who had the nice suit. You met the guy who was slick talking, smooth talking, sold phone after phone after phone, made great money. But you also met the guy who was very unsure of himself, very unsure of what he wanted to do in life, very unhappy with his current life. You met the overweight Brandon.
I was gonna say you lost so much weight since I've known you too.
Yeah.
Since I've re-known you, I've actually known you in general because you were a little chubbier back in school. Like,
Yeah, totally. In senior year, I was pretty thin. I was pretty lean because I was doing things like thermogenics and I was actually being active at the time. But when you saw me, I was 250 pounds. I was in a ton of credit card debt. And I was really good at putting a front out there to the world that I was happy. I had things going for me. I had the new BMW.
Flashy car, flashy item, but
Yeah.
I can 100% attest to that because I've been there too.
Totally. And I still got the new BMW, just a different one, but I'm actually happy with my life.
A newer one.
A newer one, yeah. And I can actually afford it this time. Which is a nice thing. Before I couldn't. I was struggling. And I just didn't really know what I wanted to do with life, So I eventually made the changes that have led me to this point. And that's really pretty much what's in this book in general.
You want to talk about your book for a second?
Yeah.
Plug it up.
Sure. So my book is Be Extraordinary, Your Guide to Self-Mastery. And the reason I wrote it is because actually right before we were about to go to AT&T.
I remember
Right?
that. Yeah. So
that was the turning point of my life. That
really?
was
So that's what you would say was the turning point of everything.
that was 100%.
We were
the
very
turning
close to
point.
jumping ship.
Totally. We were very. I know personally myself. I don't know your mind. I was in a very negative state.
Me too.
I was in a very disempowered state, and I remember I was driving home after my talk right before I was about to leave to AT&T, and Mike Mobilia, Mike, if you're watching this, I appreciate you. Mike called me and he's like, "Hey man, you're making a mistake. Like you're making great money here. You're not going to make as great money over there. You can make a change and make this opportunity work for you." And I said, "Well, what do you mean, Mike?" And he's like, "Just give it some more time." So I did. And I met people who helped me to the first thing that I changed. And the first chapter of this book is emotional mastery. The first thing that I had to change was my mindset. Before I lost the weight, before I got myself out of debt, it was the mindset, right? Because I was negative. I always reverted to blame, complaining, gossip, all those things. It was just who I was. And I read The Secret by Rhonda
That was
Byrne.
one of my topics. Yes.
Yeah, totally. And after reading The Secret, just for those who haven't read The Secret, the premise is your thoughts become things, right? So if you think of lack, you bring more lack into your life. If you think of positive thoughts, which not just ignoring problems, right? We're not just saying, we're not ignoring things that are wrong in our life. We're actually taking action to improve on them. And I read that book and I was like, everything that I'm doing goes against what this book said. So I said, while this is very different from what I'm doing, why not make the change and just try what this book is recommending? And I did that. And within 6 months, I went from the guy who was about to leave my job to a different company to being promoted to a leadership role again, becoming the team lead of a sales team. And my entire life changed after that point. After that point, I moved into my physical body. I moved into making changes physically. I went from 250 pounds to 180 pounds at the time. And that's chapter 2, physical mastery. And after I got my body in check, and just to stop right here, there's something called a keystone habit. Have you heard of a keystone habit?
No, but I can't wait to hear it.
A keystone habit is a habit that when you adopt it, it helps you transform every other area of your life, right? So your fitness and working out is a keystone habit. So when you start working out, when you start lifting weights, when you start doing anything physical and getting your blood going and sweating and putting your body into motion, you're actually changing a lot of other areas of your life too. So me, I was in debt, I was negative, I started working out, and it just releases different hormones and endorphins, and it causes you to take different actions, which leads you to a different result, right? So I started working out, and I started following the program that I actually wrote about in the book, and it led me from there to eventually getting myself out of debt. It led me to eliminating all of the debts that I had, $25,000 in credit card debt. And I made great money, so I was able to pay that off quickly. I know a lot of other people aren't in that situation, but no matter how much in debt you are right now, by following the plan I talk about in my book, I think it's chapter 3, Financial Mastery, you can realistically get yourself out of thousands of dollars in credit card debt within a couple years. It took me 8 months, just full transparency, because I was making $90,000 to $100,000 a year, but it took me still 8 months to get myself out of that debt. and you can do the same thing too. So the point of what I'm trying to say is it started with my emotions. It started with my mindset. And once I got those toned in, I'm still working on them every day. No one's a master at those
Absolutely.
things, right?
Right.
It led me to my physical body. It led me to my finances. And overall, it improved my relationships, which is a chapter in the book. And it improved my spirituality and the way that I think about life and the spiritual side of things. I'm not Christian. I'm none of those things, but I'm spiritual. And I believe in what a lot of people know as karma, right? You do good, you get good back. You take care of people, you get good back.
So you're a big believer in karma.
Totally.
I would say the same.
Absolutely. I mean, think about if you ever do something that you know instinctually is wrong, it always comes back at you.
Absolutely.
Always.
So so you would say pretty much by reading The Secret that was the big like for you.
Yeah.
When you first heard of The Secret, was it because of Keith?
It was because of Keith.
Yeah, Keith is an old boss of mine. What do we say, colleague of yours?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So, and he was like one of the coolest bosses I ever had.
Yeah.
And I remember one time we used to have these monthly meetings very early in the morning. Don't want to talk about that part because it was like 6 in the morning. But and Keith pulls up this thing, and it was a video, and it's this thing called The Secret. I'm like, what the hell is a secret? Like I can't keep a secret. But It was actually in video format. I've never read the whole book, but he always used to say the first 20 minutes of this movie is the most important. I'll tell you that for me was my clicker right there, because I used to have a very negative mindset, stuff like that. Like I didn't really give a shit about this and that. Like, but after watching that and like really realizing how like they were big believers in like thoughts become things and stuff like that, I'm a huge believer in that. If you really want something, you can make it happen.
Yeah.
And I've ever since that day I've thought that to be true. And
look what you've done, not to interrupt you, but look what you've done with the podcast, right? You said you were talking to Luke and Luke, right? Luke Van Dixonhorn?
Yeah, Luke.
You were talking with them, you had everyone over, and look what it's become. You've got the branding, you've got the hat, you've got the equipment. And when did you start this podcast?
In the end of July.
This podcast in July was an idea that you physically materialized in the world and is now viewed by thousands of people.
Absolutely.
Who are entertained, who take away practical tips. Like, you're helping to impact people's lives.
Absolutely. And it started off as an idea, and now it's a brand. Yeah. And it's crazy.
It was a thought, and now it's a thing.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a thought, and now it's like it sounds cliche almost, but it's not, because it's absolutely true.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy. So those of you that haven't seen The Secret, read The Secret, whatever, I highly recommend, because I swear to God, those 20 minutes will change your life, even if you just watch and don't read it.
Yeah.
But I think that if you read the whole book, it probably has an even bigger impact on it. Look at this classy bitch drinking wine. I love it.
Wine. Yeah.
First person on the podcast to ever drink wine.
Am I really the first?
Yes, but I love it.
Wow.
I love wine. I'm a wine guy myself. I got a box upstairs.
You love Pinot Grigio.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I'm a big wine guy. Sometimes I like Merlot. What kind of red wine do you got there?
This is actually Apothic Crush. I like the Apothic ones, Apothic Blend, Apothic Crush. I feel like I like red wine because I believe in the rumor that wine helps you live longer.
Yeah, me too.
So I like red wine for that reason, but I think that white wine tastes the best.
Oh, white wine definitely tastes better. But see, the thing is with me, if I drink a lot of red wine, I'm hungover so bad the next day.
Really?
White wine does not make me hungover. But I think you're probably better at knowing your limit than me. Like if you're drinking and you're like, all right, I'm good. You probably know that. Me, I'm like, yeah. All right, one more.
Yeah.
All right, one more.
Yeah.
One more. And then I fall on the floor. So that's just me.
Or you're at my wedding and we have our own
I know.
shenanigans.
Jesus.
I mean, hey, I'm the one who missed the rehearsal dinner. So.
Dude, I don't even remember the end of your wedding. I remember going to the right before I sang karaoke. I sit down and I got I had the one pregnant girl. What was her name? Kaylee. Kaylee, was that it? Or,
Yeah, Kaylee was pregnant.
Yeah, Kaylee was pregnant, so she couldn't have her tequila shot. And there was a bunch of other people that didn't want the tequila shot. So
I was hungover, so you had my tequila shot.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm in Mexico. Give me all the tequila shots. I
Yeah.
had 4 or 5. Lights out after that. I dropped Kingston in the sand. And that's his nephew.
You have the ability though to drink a lot and still be fun to be around.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't completely die. Which is nice. And although I might not remember, I'd like to say I'm still fun. I'm fun to be around.
But a lot of fun things happen in that time you don't remember.
I know, right? But I don't get to experience them. You guys just tell me about them. I'm like, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
But no, definitely so true. Natural Light Beer. Natural Light Beer is the king of beers, the top shelf beer, the best and one of the least expensive beers on the market. If you've never had yourself a Natural Light, you are missing out. They've got beers, they've got seltzers, and oh my gosh, those seltzers are absolutely amazing. Especially if you haven't tried Natural Light Seltzer, highly recommend. But of course, like I say all the time, this episode is brought to you by Natural Light. You can find them on social media at Natural Light Beer. You can also go to www.naturallight.com to find Natural Light Beer near you. Like I said, if you haven't had it, you're missing out. Top shelf, #1 beer all day. Once you go natty, you don't go back. Back to the show. Oh yeah. So tell me how after like changing your lifestyle and like seeing The Secret and all that stuff, how did you really get into the whole like your own brand?
Yeah.
Be Better, stuff like that. Like where did Be Better come from? I'm assuming the BE comes from Brandon Eastman.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But like Be Better, where'd that come from? Your whole like you have a whole different platform just for your inspirational stuff. Like
Totally.
tell me about that.
So my logo and all the branding came from a guy named Max Schwarm. You know Max, obviously. He created my logo. He created
we still
all that.
Snapchat each other. Hello, Max.
Yeah, Max is the man, dude. Max is the man. So he actually, I said, Max, I don't really know what I want the logo to look like. What do you think? And he sent me back, Be Better. And I was like,
Keep going. I'm just gonna send him a Snapchat, but
oh, okay,
I'm
cool.
still listening.
And he sent me back my logo, Be Better. And I was like, Max, this is really awesome. He's like, yeah, take your first name, your last name, you got your initials, and then add better to it. And I was like, dude, this is genius. So my brand became Be Better. And it really started, what I wanted this brand to be is this is the vision of Be Better. The vision is I want to give people the strategies and the tips that they didn't get in the traditional education system, right? Think about you going through high school, okay? When were you taught about financial health in high school?
Never.
When were you taught about emotional intelligence in high school?
Never.
We weren't taught these things, right? We were taught English, we were taught history, some of that's
We
great.
took Freshman 101 where they taught you how to write a check, and I never remembered it. And I still, to this day, I've never written a check in my life, by the way. Never. Never have.
School taught you how to spend money.
Right.
But they never taught you how to make money. They never taught you how to invest money, save money. We have a society that is afraid to talk about money at the dinner table.
Yeah. No, 100%.
And that's the reason why people don't have money. If you're afraid to talk about it, then
People spend more than they make.
Totally. 99% of people say, I was in the
I've
same
been
boat.
there. I was going to say, I've been there.
Totally. And it's very easy. I'm a very impulsive person, and Bree helps me with that.
Me too. I'm so impulsive.
Yeah. And the vision is I want to give people the information, and not just info, because information's not power, right? Information's only potential power. But the real power is when you actually take that info and you do something with it, right? You could have researched how to set up a podcast for years and years and years like most people do, yet not get the equipment. And you didn't even have this. You had those little microphones over there.
Absolutely, right.
But you didn't try to make it perfect the first time around.
Not at all. The first episode, I didn't even record a video. It was just all audio because I didn't have the stuff for the video yet.
Totally. A lot of people wait for things to be perfect. And because they wait for it to be perfect, perfection is the enemy of execution.
Absolutely. See, I'm okay with fucking up a little bit in the beginning for a better product in the end.
Totally.
So like in the beginning, like I said, the first episode, like I was like, all right, we got to launch now. Like we got to get this ready. So like I don't have video equipment, so we're going to do it without a video.
Yeah.
So, and then the second episode, we started rolling the videos, rolling onto YouTube because I'm like, well, one, like going out onto YouTube where a lot of people like to listen, but a lot of people love to watch.
Yes.
So like a larger part of my audience is from YouTube. So like they like to watch the video. They like to actually see the interactions and stuff like that versus just like being in a car and listening. Me, on the other hand, I love listening to a podcast. Like I can picture this shit in my mind and stuff just by hearing it.
Yeah.
But like, I think best of both worlds is how you get the best outcome.
Totally. If I'm at the gym or walking or running, I'll listen to it. But I love watching. That's why I have a YouTube channel, because I like being in front of the camera. I like people to see the body language because I believe that makes a difference. But it's still great if you're listening. Like, no problem.
Absolutely. Right.
And when I was making those big changes in my life, one of the people that I turned to the most was Tony Robbins. And Tony Robbins, for those who don't know him, he's this big dude. He's got this deep, boisterous voice. And he overcame a lot of challenges in his own life. And you watch his videos and you listen to his content and you read his books, and he totally changed things for me. So I wanted to be the person like Tony Robbins who somebody tuned into to get these strategies and tips they could apply literally starting immediately and actually make a realistic change in their life.
Because there's a lot of people that are like, listen to somebody like, I'm going to do this, but not today.
Yeah.
I'm going to do this tomorrow.
Yeah.
Next week. And like, don't actually like flip the switch and make the change.
Yeah.
And I feel like you're one of those people that like, if you have someone grasp on and listening to you, like they're going to make the change.
Totally. And think about this. And you're doing this with the podcast at the same time, by the way. You impact one person's life. You bring one smile to somebody's face throughout their day. That person's entire day changes. Okay, so check this out. You make somebody smile while they listen to Garage Boozin', right? That person's smile causes them to take different actions the rest of their day. Those different actions are influencing every other person that individual comes into contact with, and they are now in turn making their own world and the other person's world a better place because of what you shared with them.
And that's so and I'm trying to watch my F words. Sorry, Dad. My dad doesn't like when I say fuck, but that is so true because like, say for example, I'm talking on the podcast and I'm degrading people and making them feel terrible.
Yeah.
That person that just had a happy day and branched off and made this person happy and like made all these positive decisions, that could have been the complete opposite. I could have been like really upset someone where they're in a bad mood, they're really upset, and then that interaction they have with the next person is a negative interaction, and then negative, and
Totally.
just branches out from there.
That's why they call people like you and us influencers.
Absolutely.
Right? You're influencing people's emotional state. And I don't believe there's bad people. I just believe that there's bad emotional states.
Sure.
Right? And that's what we were going to talk about with the sniffer that you've got there.
Oh yeah, but we can lead right into that.
Yeah.
My boom boom stick. I saw this on Shark Tank. I pulled it out right before we started, and Brandon's like, "Oh, I've seen that before." And then we were like, "All right, we're gonna save it for the podcast." So
Yeah.
where are we going?
So
with
I
it?
want to share with you a strategy.
Those of you that don't know, boom boom stick is this thing right here. It's from Shark Tank, and it's crazy how this thing works. Like when this episode of Shark Tank, like all the sharks are sniffing this thing, going woo woo, like it's like legal cocaine, but like it's not really the case. It just clears out your nasal passages and like makes you smell better. You can breathe better, but it does give you a slight little energy. It's wild how this thing works.
Yeah.
But it's all vitamins and minerals. It's nothing bad. FDA approved, like completely like okay stuff. And you like sniff it, and you're just like woo, like you can think clearly for a second. It's weird how it works. But what were you gonna say?
Totally. What I was going to say is this. So, like I was mentioning, there's no bad people. There's only bad emotional states. And your emotional state is what determines what actions you take throughout your day, and it determines the destiny that you live throughout your life. So check this out. The most powerful sense that we have is the olfactory sense, your sense of smell.
Absolutely.
Right? We've got our vision, we've got our physical kinetic sense, we've got our sense of smell, we've got our sense of taste, right? Gustatory.
Hearing as well.
Yep, hearing's an important one. Very grateful to be able to hear.
True. Very grateful.
Now that boom boom stick. Okay, so check this out. We can implant something called an anchor. So let's say you're having a bad day, okay? You can make it, Chase. So whenever you're having a bad day, you can smell your boom boom stick, as weird as it is to say, and you can turn your day from bad to good by planting an emotional anchor. So let me explain how this works. Are you willing to play along with me?
Yeah, I like this, yeah.
Because I'm going to help you actually do this for yourself.
I love
right
this.
now.
Yeah, please.
Okay. And all of you following along, you can do this with a physical anchor. You can do it with a snap. You can do it with a specific movement, anything. But what I want you to do right now is I want you to close your eyes. Okay? Nothing weird's going to happen. I promise.
this.
It's just you and me, man. Nothing weird's going to happen.
No tricks.
So right now, in your mind's eye, I want you to think of something that makes you so extraordinarily happy. Think of a moment in your life where you felt so incredibly good. You felt on top of the world. You felt like you were in a state of flow. And as you think about this, I want you to actually grab that boom boom stick, have it open, have it in your hand, a little bit more up to the left. There you go. Yep. And I want you to open it up, and I want you to be ready to smell that, because what we're going to do right now is we're going to put you into an emotional state where you feel extremely good, extremely happy, extremely on top of the world. So create that image in your mind. Do you have it in your mind right now?
I got it since the first second you said it.
Okay. I want you to take that image or video in your mind, because that's what it is. You're seeing something play out through your mind right now, and so is everyone who's watching. I want you to make that image or video brighter. I want you to make it more bright, more intense. I want you to really feel as if you were in that moment again, seeing it through your own eyes. I want you to play it at normal speed, make it bright, make it intense. And what we can do with these feelings and emotions is we can spin them. We can make them more intense. And we spin them in our own unique way. And I want you to spin that emotion through your body so it goes faster and faster and becomes more intense. And the more you hear the sound of my voice, the more intense this feeling becomes for you. And once you're at the very, very peak of this feeling, I'm going to count down from 3, and I want you to sniff the boom boom stick.
I'm there.
Okay? So 3, intensify the feeling. 2, make it even stronger. 1, smell the boom boom stick. Implant that sense and feeling into your nervous system. Yeah. So let me explain.
Wow.
Let me explain now
wow.
what you just did. So that sense, that feeling that you had, that emotion.
I just felt so good.
Yes, because you can feel good whenever
That was
you want
whack,
to.
dude. Whoa.
Now let me explain what you just did. You felt good on command, right? So many of us go throughout our day, go throughout our life, feeling at random how the environment or the society or people want us to feel, right? You get broken up with, you have a bad day, you have a distraction, whatever it might be. You read the news, you see the headlines. What you just did, though, was you controlled how you felt. But let me explain what you did that's even more powerful. Now, whenever you're not feeling the way that you want to feel, you can smell that boom boom stick and go back immediately to that sense and that vision that you just had in your mind whenever you want to.
And it's funny because that's actually no bullshit. Like the sensation I just had, like I would just, like, I haven't had a bad day, but like,
Yeah.
I just felt fantastic. I felt that rush through my entire body, and
Yeah.
I think a lot had to do with like how I was picturing, like you were saying, and then your voice got louder and boom boom, and then sniffed the stick, and I was like, boom,
Yeah.
wow.
And that's a very light form of hypnosis, because as we
That's
go
what I was
going
going
to
to compare that to. I was going to compare that to that.
Yeah. As we go throughout our days, we're always in a very, very light form of hypnosis. And that's not a bad thing. It means we're able to be influenced at a deeper level by things that are happening around us. So the key is being able to control your emotional state and influence yourself so that you're not at the whim and influence of everybody else. If that makes sense.
This is some Ghandi shit, and I love it. No, damn. Like, seriously, I love that you did that, and I love that you just had that, like, I'm glad that I was, what do you call me, like the test subject?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
That, I was not expecting that to happen. That was totally not planned.
Yeah.
And I can't even express the fact that, like, that was absolutely no bullshit. Like, the way that just worked and how, like, the rush I just felt through my body, I was like, wow. Like,
And you can do that with any emotion. You can do that with confidence, exhilaration. You can do that with pride. You can do that with curiosity, everything. That's how I'm able to go from a state of nervousness and a slight fear to be able to speak in front of a room of people, because I'm able to get myself into the emotional state of confidence and pride and the willingness to be able to go in there and do it. And any of us can do that.
So that leads me to my next question here. You kind of mentioned it briefly, but mind over matter. Are you a believer in that?
Explain how you envision that.
Me, I think your mind is your most powerful asset of your body.
Yeah.
And like whenever I'm in a bad mood, sure, we all get in bad moods. I might be negative, upset, sad, whatever, but I'm in that state of mind for a very short period of time, just because I don't really know how to explain it, but I feel like in the past couple of years, I've trained myself to where, like, am I going to let 10 seconds of negativity ruin my entire day? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Like, okay, it's different if my mom dies. Sure, I'll be sad for a while, but like something small that I'm upset about, or like something doesn't go right at work, that a relationship makes me upset. Sure, I'm going to be upset, but I feel like you almost take that from the front of your mind and push it to the back of your mind.
Yep.
And your mind just is just like, and it's very hard to teach people that. I don't even think it can be taught. You got to learn it yourself. But not perfect to explain this right now. Boozing in the garage. But if you can actually get to the point where you trust your brain and your feelings, you can snap out of a bad feeling like this.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm going with that.
Yeah. I don't mean to take this too spiritual, but
No, go ahead.
I want you to envision something, okay? Imagine you die, okay? And you're put on a scale. Your lifeless body's put on a scale actually while you're still alive, okay? So they weigh you when you're alive, and once you die, quote unquote, you're weighed again. Do you think the weight is the same, or do you believe it's different after you die from when you were alive?
I feel like it's different.
It's the same.
It is.
So I want you to ask yourself this question. If you are no longer in that body, then how can that body weigh the same after you're gone?
That's what I'm saying.
So the question then comes down
Does
to...
my soul come out, or like...
Yeah, so who are you is the question.
I think I'm my soul. I don't think I'm my human, like, my
Yeah.
human self. I definitely think your soul has a lot to do with it. Like,
Totally.
I think that I was put in this body, but regardless of what I looked like and stuff like that, like, I think I would still have the same life.
Mm-hmm. Now, a lot of people identify with their emotions.
Yes.
Right? They say, I am not confident. I am depressed. I am fearful.
And that used to be me.
Yeah, it used to be me too. Just
Right.
what we were just talking about. But what if I told you that you weren't your mind, right? You are not your emotions. You are not your body, right? You are simply having a human experience, but you are not a body. You are not a mind. I believe that we are the awareness of those two things. I believe that our mind is a tool that we can use to experience emotion. And you just mentioned that you said verbally, I've trained myself, is what you said.
Sure.
Because we practice feeling a specific way. So when I look at myself back when I was in my early 20s, when you first met me again.
Met me again after I kissed Brie.
Yeah, after you kissed Brie. I was very good at feeling depressed, right? I was very good at feeling bad. And I had to physically and mentally train myself to feel the way that I wanted to feel that would actually be better for me. So a lot of people probably say to you, especially you all the time, Chase, how are you always in a good mood?
All the time I hear that. Because my thing, it's not to cut you off there,
Yeah.
but my thing is I'm very rarely in a bad mood.
Yeah.
So like when I am in a bad mood, people can tell because it's just like not normal.
Yeah, totally.
I'm very rarely in a bad mood.
And it's viewed from the outside because they don't see all the hard work you put in to feeling the way that you feel on a daily
Right.
basis. You've simply become really good at feeling the way that you want to feel. And the point of this is...
That's actually very valid. Yeah.
Yes.
You're right.
And what changed for me the most when it comes to my emotional mastery, which is, again, chapter 1 of my book, you can literally get it for free, which I'll talk about at the end of the episode, is I started to become more aware of how I felt. And if you're not feeling great about where you are currently in life, if you're going through your days and you're feeling down, you're feeling lethargic, you're feeling depressed, whatever it might be, simply step one is to become aware of how you feel.
If you're not smiling, you're not living.
If you're not smiling, you're not living. And let me tell you.
What the hell is that?
It's all good, man. And let me tell you this. If you say that slogan, right? Say it again. What's the slogan?
If you're not smiling, you're not living. I say it all the time.
If you say that to yourself all the time, you put yourself back into that state of awareness and you cause yourself to then feel something different. Am I right by saying that?
Yeah.
Totally.
No, 100%.
Be aware of how you feel, and only once you're aware can you let that feeling that you're currently experiencing leave so you can feel the way that you want to feel.
Sure. This is my guest, Ghandi.
I won't go that far.
No, but
I'll take it. I gotta say, man, I'm looking at your beer, and it's so cool how you took the top off of this. And you're literally...
so you're talking about my Giraffe Top. This episode is brought to you by DraftTop.com. What is Draft Top, you ask? Well, I talk about it every week, so I'm going to talk about it again real quick. It is this cool little bar tool in my hand if you're watching on YouTube, but if you're just listening, you're going to have to listen to me talk about it for a second. But this is such a cool little tool. You take your Draft Top, you open it up, and then you stick it right on top of your beer, give it a little squeeze, to the left, to the right, a little friction, I like to say, and boom, off comes the top of your beer, making your beer into a cup. So forget about a red Solo cup, I'll fill you up. We're saving the earth here. You don't need to get a plastic cup. You don't have to use a different cup because your beer just became a cup. And the bright side makes for a whole better drinking experience. You can smell the aroma of the alcohol. You can also chug the beer a hell of a lot quicker. So, hey, I want you to have one. You want you to have one. Draft Top wants you to have one. So go get your very own Draft Top right now at www.drafttop.com. And please don't forget to use promo code 10%-GarageBoozing at checkout for 10% off site-wide. That is 10%-GarageBoozing for 10% off at checkout site-wide. All right, back to the show. Yeah, I'm loving this right now. But this is going to lead me to my next question, which is kind of has to do with that, but like you were asking me like once you die, blah, blah, blah. What do you think happens when you die?
What do I think happens?
Yeah, go complete left turn here. Yeah.
Awesome question. I believe that we are energy, right? We are that infinite spirit.
When people say they see ghosts and stuff like that, I think it's energy or like stuff like that. But sorry to cut you off.
No, it's cool. And I asked you, when you're weighed before you die and after you die, your body weighs the same. So where are you?
Yeah.
Right? Do you think you just go somewhere? Whatever you might believe, whatever gives you comfort, I recommend that you believe that. For me, what gives me comfort is believing that we are energy, right? We are pure energy. And once our physical body dies and decays, our energy goes elsewhere, right? This is why.
Where does it go?
Great question. And I can't answer
no
that
one
question.
knows.
But who are the friends that you have that work with the paranormal?
Oh, Steve Brought and Sydney. Yeah.
Yes. I don't even know if paranormal is the correct
no,
word.
Yeah.
It is the right word.
Southlands Falls Paranormal Society. Yeah.
And let me tell you why I believe that. Because when somebody
I've been with them on these trips, and that shit's crazy. But like, I think it's energy, is what I think.
Yes, it's exactly what it is. And I believe it because where's that energy going? Who says it all goes to a great place? Who says that it all gets recycled? People believe in reincarnation, that energy becomes something new, a new body. Who knows where it could go, though? Like, we just don't know. But I like to believe that if you do good works, if you operate from your unique ability to do good and to serve other people in a form of leadership, then I believe that energy goes off and becomes something great. I believe that if you don't do that, I believe that if you don't live to your full potential, if you don't do whatever you can to serve others, then that energy becomes something paranormal or something not as great as it could be if you did great works while you're here, similar to what we were talking about with karma.
Yeah, no, and that makes total sense. So let me ask you this.
I have to stop you. What do you believe?
I was going to say, so I was growing up in a very religious family. Like I went to church with my grandma every Sunday, stuff like that. So like, I want to say yes, I believe in God, but at the same time, like I feel like if there's not a God, I think there's a higher power. I think there's a something, because I think everything has a beginning. And like, sure, scientists will say the Big Bang. Okay, well, what started the Big Bang? What started the chemicals, the molecules, whatever, to make the Big Bang? There's got to be something. There's something that started. Everything has a beginning. It started somewhere. So like, you can't just have nothing and make it into something in the world and humans and stuff like that. That's what doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, man. Sometimes like it really creeps me out thinking about death, thinking about like afterlife, stuff like that. Because like, I don't know, I love my life. I'm having a good time. So like, I don't want to think about dying and shit like that. It just makes me scared. But I feel like if I had an answer and I knew, it would make me feel a hell of a lot better. But like, no one really knows. You hear all these stories about people dying and like going to the gates of God and stuff like that. Obviously, no one can prove that. That's just what they saw. So I don't really know. I think there's something out there. Maybe it's God, maybe it's a higher power, whatever. But I think there's a beginning to everything. Do I believe in the Big Bang whatsoever? Absolutely not. I think that, or actually, sure, maybe that could have been a thing. But I think there's something that started that. I think there's something before that. I just think there's something. I feel like there's got to be a thing, a something that's in control. Like it's so hard to say because like it's hard to explain. But like, am I making sense? I feel like I got, you know, like it's.
Do you remember Mr. Hammond from high school?
Yes, I do.
So I remember somebody asked Mr. Hammond in psychology, "Do you believe in God?" And
I'd love to hear his answer.
And he said, "You know, I'm not going to say no to that because I believe that I'm spiritual."
Sure.
And I feel that people call it different things. When I say it, I mean God. Some people call it the universe.
Not it, the clown.
not what Bree was.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. You took the words right out of my mouth. I was just gonna say
it's in our presence right now.
Bree is Brandon's wife, by the way. You can't see her; she's off camera.
She's back here.
Live studio audience.
She's emotional support. And some people call it God. Some people call it the universe. Some people call it infinite intelligence. Some people call it luck, grace, karma, whatever it might be. I personally believe that God is that force that does good for us if we do good, right? I believe that God, or whatever you personally want to call it, whoever's listening to this right now, I believe that God comes into play once you, number one, know what you want, right? If you have a goal, you know what you want to do, garage booze, and you had a goal, you had an idea in mind. You have to know your reason why you want that. So let me ask you this. Why did you start Garage Booze, and what was your main motivation?
Entertainment. I wanted to supply entertainment for people.
You
honestly.
wanted to entertain
Yeah.
people.
I get blackout drunk on camera for entertainment. No, seriously. I swear, that's true.
Yeah, and thousands of people watch it and are entertained.
100%.
Yeah. The third step, after you know what you want and you know why you want it, which is the most important part, you take action towards it. You actually do things. You started it before you had all the equipment. Now you've got the equipment, and it's only going to grow from here.
You can make a plan, but you have to act.
Totally.
100%.
And then the fourth step is once you're not getting the results that you want, you continue to adjust your approach. You got the new equipment. You figured things out. I'm sure you didn't have all this fancy software when you first started.
Nope, did not.
Right? And only after you know what you want, you know why you want it, you take action, and you continue to change your approach when it doesn't work, does God come into play, and does the universe come into play. And once you have all those things, the final step is that invisible force, which you can call whatever you want, comes in to help you get whatever it is that you want. And this is why we call certain people lucky, right? Like, I remember when we worked in Aviation Mall, we always said, oh, Jared, he gets so lucky. Like, what is it with him? People just come in and ask for things. You know, we're talking sales right now. Some people would struggle, and this guy would sell everything. And we always thought luck. It wasn't luck, right? It was that invisible force that came in because he knew what he wanted, he knew why he wanted it, and he took action towards it.
You couldn't knock his wall down. That's the thing.
Yeah.
He was just like, I'm going to make $400 a shift, and he'd make $400 that shift.
Yeah, because he knew what he wanted.
And then you see me, I'm so pissed off that he's making $400 a shift, and I'm not, and I'm making $100 a shift.
Yeah.
100%.
So if you're someone that's listening right now and you feel like the world's against you, if you feel like God's against you, whatever you believe, then follow that simple formula. Easier said than done, but start by asking yourself, what do I really want? You know, what do I really want to achieve? And whether you believe you can do it or not, just write it down, whatever it is that you want, and then underneath it, write down why the hell do you want that to happen for you? Why is that important? Do you want it because of the money? Do you want it because of the fame? That's okay. Like, we all want things for different reasons.
Absolutely.
Like, you wanted this so you can make people laugh and entertain people.
And get famous. I'll put that in there.
Yeah, no problem, dude. No problem.
I love that.
People create a goal all the time to get famous, and they do it.
Absolutely.
Right? So that would be the first step. You've really, and as we're going into the new year right now, I don't know when you're going to post this. Probably it will be 2021.
It'll be this Thursday.
Yeah, awesome.
New Year's Eve.
So we're literally going into the new year, and rather than create a resolution, why not create a goal that you actually have a reason behind that you can continue to take massive action towards to make it a reality?
Yeah.
That's what we have to do.
100%.
Because, and once you achieve that goal, you're just going to create another one.
It's like this one quote I saw. I don't know who said it. You probably might know, but this one: dreams don't work unless you do. Who is that?
That's a great quote.
Yeah, I don't know who says it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've seen it a million times on social media. One of those cliche quotes, but it's absolutely true. I'm a big believer in that.
Yeah.
You can think something all you want. You can want to do something all you want, but until you actually take pen to paper and like make progress, nothing's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But wow. So at this point, I think we're going to do here is we're going to get ready to send off. But before we send off, Brandon, I want you to tell us a little bit about your book. I know you did earlier, but tell us a little more. You said you were going to explain it at
Sure.
the end of the chat.
Yeah.
Where can we get the book?
Sure. So where you can get it is bebetterindustries.com/book. bebetterindustries.com/book. Enter your name, your email. I'll send you a free digital copy. If you like to have a physical copy, like I personally do, you can get this on Amazon. I believe it's like $11 on Amazon.
That's a good price for a book.
It's a good price. It's an easy book. Listen, I get that most people aren't readers. It is in an audiobook version. It's on Audible. You can get it there. Although this is only 100 pages. I designed this book in the way that I knew more people would read it because it's split up into different sections. So if you're somebody who wants to focus on their health, go to physical mastery first. If you want to focus on your finances, go to financial mastery. And at the end of each chapter, there's a challenge, a 7-day challenge that you can take that will take you from where you are and start you on the path to where you want to go. I wrote the book because a lot of people asked me, what did you do in order to get yourself out of debt? What did you do in order to lose weight? And quite frankly, I was tired of answering the question, so I put it into a book that I could hand to somebody, and I will give you the digital copy for free at bebetterindustries.com/book. Go grab it.
That was, wow. That one hell of a commercial right there. That was fantastic. Yeah, get it. bebetterindustries.com/book. All right, well, we're about to send off. Do you have anything else you want to say, or you good? Dude, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
One thing about this guy, I've said this forever, he's got the warmest hands and the warmest handshake. I don't know. Dude, your hands are always so fucking warm. My hands are freezing right now. He's got the warmest hands ever. But, guys, thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode. Thank you, Brandon, for hopping on.
Thank you.
All right, nerds. We'll see you next week.
Peace out.
Wow. What an episode. Thank you so much, Brandon Eastman, for being my guest this week. It was one hell of an episode. That is one smart guy. I love everything he has to say. And I just love seeing such a good friend go on such a positive path like that. He's doing awesome for himself, and I'm so proud of him. Brandon, you're the man. Congratulations, man. Keep it up. You're doing awesome. So don't forget to follow Brandon Eastman on all of your favorite social media accounts. Just look up Brandon Eastman to see what he's up to day to day, get some daily motivation, you know what I mean? And of course, please don't forget the absolute number one way to support the brand. Buy some merch. We got hats, hoodies, t-shirts, sweatshirts. You name it, we got it. And you can get your merch at www.garageboozing.net. And of course, don't forget to follow us on all of your favorite social media accounts at Garage Boozing, as well as YouTube. And last but not least, you got to follow us on all of your favorite podcast platforms. We're out there, every single one, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon, Pandora, iHeartRadio, you name it, we're there. So don't forget to hit that subscribe, follow button, whatever the hell it is on that site, so you can stay up to date every time a new episode is released. Well, folks, that's all I have for you this week. Thank you so much for tuning in once again. And I'll see you nerds next week.
Ladies, gentlemen, and nerds. Do you have what it takes to be a guest on the fastest growing, alcohol chugging, and nonsense talking podcast? Well, now is your chance. The Garage Boozing Podcast has new guests every week, and you could be one of them. Just simply log on to www.garageboozing.net, click the Be on the Show tab, and submit your information. It's that simple. Join the boozement, or be a loser. Don't miss your chance, because we're taking this to the moon.